Hey, everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What is shaking on your post Memorial Day Tuesday? Hope everything's going groovy for you. Akko says he is most likely to appear in a live leak video and survive. Angry Snowballs says, been sick for a week now, can't smell or taste anybody. You've been smelling and tasting people again? COVID, damn outbreaks. And Julian Zeezer says, is this an outbreak that penicillin can cure? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV. Tonight, I am going to tell you about the super outbreak of 1974. And from all of these health-related things, you might think that the super outbreak is a sickness. Well, not really. It is an outbreak of tornadoes. The super outbreak of 1974 is an outbreak of tornadoes, the likes of which the world has never seen. They say the 2011 Oklahoma ones, and there's some truth to that, but really, you'll see. The super outbreak of 1974 was crazy. So there. It's kind of hung over from the Meade horns, yes. The Doc Torn was breaking into the Meade horns the other day. If you could share, like, subscribe, retweet, our views have drastically dropped since other shows have decided 7 o'clock's their time now. And we need to do something about that. The only thing you can do is just share, like, subscribe, and grow the audience beyond people that want to hear about the same thing every night. It's a funny thing, it's an interesting thing, and it's presented by super talented people, but still. We do something different each night the same way. The exact same way. We do not deviate. Anyway. The chef is in the house. Aku has dropped his fork. It's the finger of God. That's right. Chef is on deck. The Reverend Wild Bill is here. It's always nice to see. One person has already liked this program on Facebook. So let's call it a night. Anyway, I got a vamp for another few minutes here, and then we'll start the show. Then we'll do the show. Rest in peace, Bill Walton. I experienced severe weather myself this morning. Power was out here for quite some time. And let me see here. In regards to wet brain, it's not the size of the well, but the sheer depth and the rocks you bounce off on the way down. Okay, I can go along with that. The doctor says, Rev on deck. And Angry Snowball says, too much new super drama going on in the live world. Sadness, more like. Yes. There is some super drama here and there. But what I'm going to tell you about is over. It can't hurt anybody. Oh boy, though, did it hurt some people at the time. And I lived through it. Me lived through it. Evening Doctor, people saying hi. Most cheerful chat room on the internet, not just YouTube, but on the internet, as verified by independent sources. Aku says, I'll comment when I can, replacing pins and bushings on one of the 96 Chevys. Why bother? I think, this is the night that the Shawnee Zone's on. So there's probably some people still listening about how frog people are secretly behind all the governments of the world or something. I'm just saying. We're getting greetings from all over here. It's just from all over. And, frog legs. They are good. Tastes like chicken. I happen to have, when I got back into the master bedroom, which is where I go to watch a lot of YouTube because it's more comfortable than sitting here, if I leave a video open when I turn off Google Chromecast, that video pops up when I go back to YouTube. And it was the video of Trevor Garner's show, Trevor's Happy Hour, and the very sad, depressing. I watched 5 minutes and turned it off, and I didn't want to. There was no joy in the world after watching that. Aku says, why? Because it's damaging the paint. The door doesn't line up. Yeah, but it's a 96 Chevy. Why put it out of its misery? Tyler Schollenberger. By the way, Tyler, turn on your gifted memberships. There's probably still some hanging around in here, and you can get a free membership. It tells at the bottom of the scroll, it's just about to disappear right now. It'll come back around, and then you can maybe get a free membership. I don't know. I don't keep track. Tyler Schollenberger says, is that a strawberry Dr. Pepper I spot? That stuff is delicious. Well, this is a cream and strawberries, 0. And yes, it is spectacular. Tyler Schollenberger's from the Quad Cities. You know, I always thought I'd see more wheelchairs in the Quad Cities. Reverend Wild Bill says, video of Trevor and his woman. I don't think that's his woman. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's not. Reverend Wild Bill says, what a thing to wake up to. He doesn't wake up to that, trust me. That part of the discussion was that she has some guy that treats her bad, because of course. SG Fanboy, the living legend, is with us. Hello, SG. Akko says, it was one of 2 I fully restored. I'm sure you did a great job with it. Sunday Jenna is here. She says, oh, hey, Tom Gully. Oh, hey, Sunday Jenna. Always nice to see Sunday Jenna. Very nice, always. Dr. Horn says, but it's a Chevy. I kind of agree with that. Yes, SG Fanboy is on deck, the living legend. Tyler Schollenberger says, I agree. It's one of my favorite sodas currently. Yes. Reverend Wild Bill says, I was talking about you waking up to it on your TV. Oh, I didn't wake up to it. It's just bam, right when I went up, turned it on. You know. Sunday Jenna says, hey, everyone. Everybody welcome Sunday Jenna, please, to the program, will you? Please. Please. Akumugan says, first one is Victory Red. This one is Chrysler's Midnight Black. I spend 40-ish hours wet hand sanding and buffing. Well, some people still have TVs with tubes in them, I guess. I don't know what to say about that. Is that a Chevy on the levee? And was the levee dry? By the way, just for those of you who weren't here at the very opening of the show during the credits, I'd like to first point out that I still amazingly have the moves like Jagger. And second of all, my milkshake does, in fact, bring all the girls to the yard. And then, of course, I was through with it before you knew what to do with it. And last but not least, I just met you and hey, this is crazy. But here's my number and call me maybe. My number's in the crawl. Phone lines are not open. Let's see here. SG saying hi to folks. People saying hi to Sunday Jenna. Aku Mugen says they aren't mine. Boss Man loves Chevy. Both are valued at over $50,000 each. Yeah, but I've seen that Barrett Jackson auction. Some of those things are way overvalued. Hail Sunday. Thank you, Tom Gully. Don't thank me. You did all the work. Sunday Jenna is saying hello. Of course, it is the most cheerful chat room on the internet, as verified by independent sources. Let's see. Is it time now? Should I do my thing? I think it's time. I think it's time for me to get the thing. Hey, guess what? There's a picture of a big tornado near DePaul, Indiana. And I'll tell you about the Super Outbreak of 1974, and you are going to not believe it. I lived with it. Sorry, lived through it. And I lived with it. We had a tree in our front yard, gigantic tree, absolutely gigantic, that was completely ripped out of the ground. And then we had a swing set that was found 7 miles away from our house. The Super Outbreak of 1974 was the second largest tornado outbreak on record for a single 24-hour period, just behind the 2011 Super Outbreak. And okay, maybe, all right, maybe. They might have had more, but here's the key point. It was the most violent tornado outbreak ever recorded, with 30 F4 or F5 tornadoes confirmed. Okay, and F4 and F5 are the most powerful tornadoes you can get. Go to your local grocery store and you'll see that you can't get any more powerful than that. From April 3rd to April 4th, 1974, there were 148 tornadoes confirmed in 13 U.S. states and the Canadian province of Ontario. Canadian friends watching right now. In the United States, tornadoes struck Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, and New York. The outbreak caused roughly $843 million. Now, that is equivalent to $5.21 billion in today's money. And about $3.71 billion of that occurred in the United States. It extensively damaged approximately 900 square miles and had a combined path length. Get this. The path of this thing traveled over 2,600 miles. At one point, as many as 15 separate tornadoes were occurring at the same time. It was the first outbreak in recorded history to produce more than 100 tornadoes in a 24-hour period. Yeah. In 2023, tornado expert Thomas P. Grazoulis created the Outbreak Intensity Score, the OIS, for those of you keeping score at home, as a way to rank various tornado outbreaks. The 1974 Super Outbreak received an OIS of 578, making it the worst and most violent tornado outbreak in history. A lot of people died during this outbreak. 319 people died, 77 in Alabama, 47 in Indiana, 71 in Kentucky, 38 in Ohio, 45 in Tennessee, and various dissipating numbers in the other states. I could tell you how this thing kind of formed, but it's all super technical and meteorologically complex, and I don't really want to go through all that. However, 7 of these tornadoes were F5 tornadoes, which is it's extremely violent, and 23 of them were F4 tornadoes. The first tornado of the outbreak is disputed, some indicating it's an isolated F2 in Indiana, while Fujita himself, you've heard of the Fujita scale? Himself, the guy, marked the outbreak in Illinois. Tornado struck, and I'll go into more detail on this one in just a second, in Monticello, Indiana, was an F4 and had a path length of 121 miles. 19 were killed in that tornado. The first F5 of the day struck the city of DePaul, Indiana, and that's the tornado you're looking at right now on the screen. And it swept away entire homes. Yeah. Of the F5 tornadoes, the DePaul Daisy Hill tornado, the one you're looking at right now, was the first to form, and it touched down about 3:20 local time. It was probably the least known of the F5 tornadoes in the outbreak, as it traveled through very rural areas of southern Indiana that are northwest of Louisville. And numerous farms were leveled there, just leveled to the ground. Morgan Elementary School in Palmyra and Borden was directly hit by the tornado. 4 classrooms were destroyed. The roof was removed from the school and placed on the cars of the faculty. The children in the faculty, which had followed the tornado instructions implicitly and were in basements, hallways, they were not injured. 10 homes in Martinsburg completely destroyed. Published photographs of this storm reveal a very wide debris cloud and wall cloud structure with no visible condensation funnel at times. There was no water involved in it. By the way, of the fatalities that occurred, one of them was a woman who was crushed by a school bus that was thrown into a ditch she was sheltering in. Yeah. Now, the next town or area we're going to focus on, and this one's really important. This one's super important. This is a photo of the tornado that hit Xenia, Ohio. Xenia starts with an X, Xenia. It is the most deadly individual tornado of the 1974 super outbreak, killing 32 people and basically wiping that town off the map. Winds of up to 305 miles per hour were experienced from this tornado. Okay, it began as a moderate-sized tornado and then intensified, moving at about 50 miles an hour. And that was another thing about a lot of these tornadoes. They didn't really seem that bad, and then they just intensified, and they were moving very, very quickly. This tornado exhibited a multiple vortex structure. Multiple vortex. And that's a tornado that contains several sort of tornadoes within it, several vortexes within it. And it became very large, as you can see, as it approached the town. The massive tornado slammed into the western part of Xenia, completely flattening the Windsor Park and Arrowhead subdivisions at F5 intensity, sweeping away entire rows of brick homes with little debris left behind. When the storm reached central Xenia some 10 minutes later, apartment buildings, homes, buses, churches, schools, including Xenia High School, were completely destroyed. Students at the school practicing for a play took cover in the main hallway seconds before the tornado dropped a school bus onto the stage where they had been practicing and extensively damaged the school building. Several railroad cars were lifted and blown over as the tornado passed over a moving Penn Central freight train in the center of town. It toppled headstones. It moved through the length of the downtown business district, passing west of the courthouse, which had some exterior damage. Numerous businesses in downtown Xenia were heavily damaged or completely destroyed, and several people were killed at the A&W root beer stand as the building was flattened. Upon exiting Xenia, the tornado passed through Wilberforce, which is a small town outside Xenia, heavily damaging several campus and residential buildings of Wilberforce University. Central State University also sustained considerable damage, and a water tower there was toppled. Afterward, the tornado weakened. Okay, 32 people, as I mentioned, were killed. About 1,150 were injured, several of whom were people that took proper precautions. In addition to direct fatalities, 2 Ohio Guard airmen deployed for the disaster were killed when a fire swept through their temporary barracks in a furniture store. About 1,400 buildings, roughly half the town, were heavily damaged or destroyed. Dr. Ted Fujita, the Fujita scale guy, okay, and a team of colleagues undertook a 10-month study of the super outbreak, and he initially assigned Xenia a tornado rating of F6 intensity. And then he said, I can't even do that. F6s don't even exist, but if they did, this would be an F6. Monticello, Indiana. Monticello. You guys frequently hear me mention my good friend Kurt, who owns ConnorGuitart.com. He is from Monticello. I did a podcast about this, which is at thetomgullyshow.com, and just type in Super Outbreak and you'll find it. And he tells his story of actually living through when the tornado hit his town, and it is frankly amazing. That is the, I think, a church in Monticello. The most prolific and long-lasting tornado family of the outbreak tracked from central Illinois and the entirety of northern Indiana from 2:47 to 6:59 p.m., a span of 4 hours and 12 minutes. 8 tornadoes touched down, including the longest tracked single tornado of the outbreak, the 121-mile F4 Monticello tornado. However, that tornado itself may have been comprised, and this is what Fujita thinks. He thinks it was 3 individual F4 tornadoes. So this half-mile wide, that's why they think it's 3, half-mile wide F4 tornado produced the longest damage path recorded during the super outbreak on a southwest to northeast paths that crossed the entire state of Indiana. According to most records, okay, this tornado formed just southwest of Otterbein in northeast west Warren County and ended in LaGrange County. LaGrange, I must have been right down in a check out on LaGrange, just northwest of Valentine, 121 miles. Further analysis by Ted Fujita indicated that at the start of the tornado path near Otterbein, downburst winds, also called twisting downburst, disrupted the tornado's inflow, which caused it to briefly dissipate before reforming near Brookston. And it struck portions of 6 other counties, the hardest being White County and its town of Monticello. Most of the town was destroyed, including the courthouse, some churches and cemeteries, 40 businesses, numerous homes, as well as 3 schools. And my buddy didn't have to go to high school his last year because the school was completely demolished, or just part of the year or something. It also heavily damaged the Penn Central Bridge over the Tippecanoe River. Overall damage was estimated at $250 million in Monticello alone. After it struck Monticello, the tornado reached its peak strength and leveled several farms north of town. It then went to tear through the west side of Rochester, Indiana, where businesses were destroyed, homes were leveled, and an elementary school was basically leveled as well. It struck other towns as it kept going. 18 people were killed during this one individual storm, including 5 people from Fort Wayne when their minibus fell 50 feet into the Tippecanoe River near Monticello. 1 passenger did survive the fall. 5 others were killed in White County, 6 in Fulton County, 1 in Kosciuszko County. The National Guard had assisted the residents in the relief and cleanup efforts, and then Governor Otis Bowen, beloved Indiana Governor Otis Bowen, visited the area days after the storm. One of the few consolations of the tornado was that a century-old bronze bell that belonged to the White County Courthouse and served as timekeeper was found intact despite being thrown a great distance. The tornado itself had contradicted the long-held myth that a tornado would not follow terrain into steep valleys, as while hitting Monticello, it descended a 60-foot hill near the Tippecanoe River and heavily damaged several homes immediately afterward. Here's a little something from a town called Madison, Indiana, which is pretty much on the Ohio River. Soon after that DePaul tornado, the first one I told you about, the Hanover-Madison F4 tornado formed and leveled many structures in the small towns of Hanover and Madison. A total of 11 people were killed in this storm, while an additional 300 were injured. According to WHAS-TV, Louisville reporter, in a special report about the outbreak, 90% of Hanover was destroyed or severely damaged, including the Hanover College campus. If you remember on Cheers, Woody always said he was from Hanover, Indiana. Despite the fact that no one was killed or seriously injured at the college, 32 of the college's 33 buildings were damaged, including 2 that were completely destroyed and 6 that sustained major structural damage. Hundreds of trees were downed, completely blocking every campus road. All utilities were knocked out, and communication with those off campus was impossible. Damage to the campus alone was $10 million. In Madison, where 7 of the fatalities took place, about 300 homes were destroyed, completely destroyed. And the same storm would later strike the Cincinnati area, producing multiple tornadoes, including another F5. I'll tell you about that in just a second. This one here hit Cincinnati. This one here hit Cincinnati. Okay? Now, this particular tornado was witnessed on television by thousands of people as WCPO aired the tornado live during special news coverage of the tornadoes. It's also noted for the rarity in that its path was in parts of 3 states, because that's kind of where Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky kind of meet near Cincinnati. It began shortly after 4:30 in southeastern Indiana, north of Rising Sun. Rising Sun, Indiana is a very small town. The teams at their high school are called the Shiners. So they're the Rising Sun Shiners. Anyway, it then traveled through Boone County, Kentucky, producing F4 damage before crossing the Ohio River a second time into Ohio. And this is where the tornado reached F5 intensity as it slammed into Sailor Park. Okay? And that's a neighborhood in Cincinnati. The first area of town that was hit was the Moorhead Marina, where numerous boats were thrown and destroyed. A large floating restaurant at this location was lifted, ripped from its moorings, and flipped upside down by the tornado, and it was later recovered several miles downstream. A nearby house was lifted from its foundation and thrown into the river. Okay? Many homes were swept away with only bare slabs remaining. National Weather Service surveyors noted that a pickup truck in this area was carried half a block over the roofs of 5 homes before being smashed to the ground. The tornado weakened, but it only weakened to an F4, so it still destroyed Bridgetown, Mack, Dent, and Delhi. It took 3 lives, injured 210. And it is, however, considered to be the most photographed tornado of the outbreak. And, of course, it was live on television. Louisville, Kentucky. Let's do a little talking about Louisville, Kentucky. The tornado wrapped this car around a tree, just for starters. The same supercell that hit other parts of Kentucky formed southwest of Louisville, okay? And a funnel cloud formed over Standiford Airport and touched down at the Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center and destroyed the majority of the horse barns in the center part of Freedom Hall, which is a multi-purpose arena, before it crossed I-65, scattering vehicles on this very busy highway that goes from Indianapolis to Louisville. A tornado continued for 22 miles where it demolished all sorts of stuff. Schools and neighborhoods in Audubon, Cherokee Triangle, Cherokee Seneca, Crescent Hills, Indian Hills, Northfield, Rolling Fields, Tyler Park. Numerous homes were destroyed in residential areas. Dick Gilbert, a helicopter traffic reporter for radio station WHASAM, followed the tornado through portions of its track, including when it heavily damaged the Louisville Water Company's pumping station, and gave vivid descriptions of the damage as seen from the air. A WHAS TV cameraman also filmed the tornado when it passed just east of the central business district of Louisville. WHAS AM broke away from its regular programming shortly before the tornado struck Louisville and was live on air with John Burke, the chief meteorologist at the National Weather Service's Louisville office in Stanford Field, when it first descended. The station remained on the air, delivering weather bulletins and storm-related information until well into the early morning hours of the next day. And as electrical power had been knocked out to a substantial portion of the city, the radio station became a clearinghouse for vital information and contact with emergency workers not only in Louisville but across the state of Kentucky due to its 50,000-watt clear channel signal. That's the biggest station you can have. That's the same power as where I used to work at News Radio 1080 KRLD. You can't get bigger than that. So numerous broadcast stations have been knocked over, off the air, destroyed in all these smaller communities. So there you go. That was a big deal. But you do have to remember that in 1974, and I think the Wolf will back me up on this, and so will some other people who are alive back then. I think, certainly if your car was still upright, you could listen in your car. But most people had an AM radio of some kind and batteries. That was just something you always had. So if you lost power, you had that. When my power went out this morning, while I was watching the storms on television, I was able to reach over into my bag and pull out my little Sangean handheld battery-powered radio and keep up with storm team coverage right there from Chief Meteorologist Dan Brunoff from the 1080 Weather Center. Let me get to this last thing here. I've got some other things I could tell you about, but I think this one might be of interest. Because I know we got some Shuley fans. We got some Shuley fans in the areas. And this picture here was taken from Huntsville, Alabama. Current residents of one Shuley Agar. Huntsville was affected shortly before 11 o'clock at night by a strong F3 tornado produced by the same thunderstorm that produced several other tornadoes. This tornado produced heavy damage in the south end of the city, eventually damaging or destroying nearly 1,000 structures. And that should give you an idea of, number one, how powerful an F4 and an F5 are. If an F3 can do that much damage. But it also should give you an idea of just how poorly those hillbillies down there construct their homes. I'm kidding. It's a joke. We're just having a little fun here. Believe me, the Wolf will back me up on this. Plenty of hillbillies in Indiana. I'm related to a lot of them. The tornado touched down north of Hartselle and moved northeast toward Huntsville. It first hit Redstone Arsenal, damaging or destroying numerous buildings in that location. But thanks to early warning from an MP picket line on Rideout Road, there were only 3 relatively minor injuries. One of the buildings destroyed was a publication center for nuclear weapons training school. For months afterwards, portions of classified documents were being returned by farmers in Tennessee and Alabama. Tornadoes spread those classified documents around. Many homes were badly damaged or destroyed as the tornado passed through residential areas of the city, and a school was destroyed as well. Many businesses were heavily damaged, just the same story as everywhere else. Numerous trees and power lines down throughout the city. A trailer park was completely destroyed by the tornado, and by the way, I could have read that line of information in each of the towns I just mentioned. The National Weather Service office at Huntsville Jetplex was briefly closed and abandoned due to severe weather conditions. There were luminous clouds, ball lightning, you don't see that very often, and multicolored flashes glowing areas as the storm moved through the city. The aforementioned flashes were more than likely power flashes, which are flashes of light caused by arcing electrical discharges from damaged electrical equipment, most often severed power lines. Let me see here. There's a thing that I always want to mention on this, and I always have trouble finding it. There's a lot. There was a Disaster Relief Act of 1974 was expedited and passed unanimously in the U.S. Senate directly as a result of this. And to sort of streamline the way disasters were handled, Georgia Governor Jimmy Carter declared 13 counties as a disaster area and put a request into Nixon for federal aid, citing $15 million of damage. 2 centers opened at 2 National Guard armories. Where is the thing? Because this is the only time this has ever happened. Let me find this piece of information here. It's in here somewhere. It's in here somewheres. Let's see here. It might be in that weather section that I skipped over because let's see here. Let's see. Meteorological synopsis. I was reading in the meteorological synopsis. Just somewhat of a meteorological synopsis. Third Ball State explodes. Cold water. Well, let's see here. There's another place I can look because this is a very important. I wouldn't tarry over this, except it is a very important fact. Let me just see if I can find it this way. Okay. Okay, yeah, here it is. The entire state of Indiana was placed under a tornado warning. And that is the first, and it is the only time that has ever happened in history that an entire state has not been under a watch, a warning. You know the difference. A watch is like, hey, watch out, one might be coming. A warning is, dude, they're coming. So, anyway, let me get some chats done up in here, and we'll see what's going on. Let's see. Do your thing. Yes, I had to open up my thing. You know what my favorite Helen Hunt movie is? Twister. Yeah, he used to be a scientist. Then he went out and got all those corporate sponsors. Wild Bill says, hair is looking mighty good today, if I must say. Yeah, I did some gel. I got to cut it tonight or tomorrow night. I want it to be freshly cut for Thursday. Nature is powerful, says Sunday Jenna. Boy, you got that right. Julian Caesar, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it is the twister. Yes. Aku says, the first farm I lived at was in the Canadian Tornado Alley. Tyler Schollenberger says, today is the 1-year anniversary of that building collapse that happened downtown here. We've been getting a bunch of tornadoes here in Iowa lately as well. I mean, I think the whole Midwest has been getting them. We had some cruise through right at the start of Memorial Day weekend, and they had some off near north of Austin, and 30 F4, F5 converted, Odin's beard, great Hogan's goat. Wild Bill says, what's all this brouhaha? Wild Bill says, when you are told you are moving into Tornado Alley, that should give you a hint. How wide is an F4, F5? Toby, good question. An F4 or an F5 is not based on size. It is based on strength and intensity. So it can be wide and very strong. It can be small and very strong. So there's no set figure for that. Hungus Mungus, who's also known as Sven Dunkel, says, good evening, Tom and friends. I just like saying Hungus Mungus better. The doctor says, Toby's here. Now it's a party. Who's your boyfriend? Who's your girlfriend? It's a party. Oh, wow. Excuse me. Oh, I should try and hold on. Let's see. Sign on side of the interstate. You would be home if you lived here, or maybe some of it here. Yeah, just a little dust storm. No trailer parks hit. I think they hit every single trailer park. I could have shown numerous pictures of the trailer parks that were hit, but it's like showing a picture of an open field. There was nothing there except a little siding, some Hamburger Helper, and some store brand beer cans. The doctor says, it's funny, the topic of today's show is about storms while a thunderstorm passes over me. There's one coming tonight, I think, again. Bill Walton passed away. Yes, we were discussing that yesterday on the show, Wolf. And today I opened up the show talking about it. Wolf says, hell, everyone, I watched a tornado try to drop on me cutting our grass. Why would a tornado be cutting your grass? Never mind. Our town is on a hill, so I'm guessing the pressure pushed it back up and destroyed some homes about a half mile away. I know where Wolf lived. Wolf lived over in that town where people used to sweep leaves under other people's cars and light them on fire. Wolf says, my dad was actually picked up in a tornado going up the Appalachian Mountains. Apparently moved the car about 100 feet and set him down. Set him down. By the gods, I hope your home wasn't one of them. Nope, we didn't get hit. Took our swing set, dropped it 7 miles away. And guess who found it? Our uncle. Because it dropped it across from where he lived. And it was sunk in cement. But you know what? It was in cement in the ground, but not a lot of cement. It wasn't like anchored or something. Probably after a heavy rain, we could have pulled it out. It was enough weight. You know, kids weren't that big. Well, 74. So I was, anyway. The Wolf is being saluted by SG Fanboy. Wolf says, no, it hit a mile away. It did drop golf ball size hail, though. Yeah, that's the other thing. That hail that came down after the tornado went through. And there's two things. When you're getting that kind of severe weather, whether it's a very severe thunderstorm, but certainly a tornado, the sky gets this color of green, a little brown, not a dull brown, and I'm talking... If it could be middle of the day, middle of the afternoon, and it's looking dark, very dark. It's blocking out the sun. And they always say it sounds like a freight train, and I never knew if that was true. It does. Because one of them was coming at our house. It veered off about a quarter of a mile away. My dad and I were upstairs in the kitchen. My mom was screaming bloody murder down from our storm cellar. Not a basement, a storm cellar, where you go down there. People store like canned items and there's spiders and dirt. And it's like, please, tornado, take me. I don't want to go down there. But I could see the windows were bowing, and we finally ran downstairs. But anyway, but that hail, after the tornado goes through, it's an eerie calm. It might be raining, but it's an eerie calm. And you go outside, and the hail is still there. I mean, it doesn't just melt immediately. And people pick it up and put it in bowls and freeze it. And, the Wolf says, SG, the legend. Not just a legend, the living legend. Good day, Lyndon. How you doing? Lyndon is on deck. The Wolf says, there's no place like home. Click, click. There's no place like home. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? It's so big it weigh you down. I wish people knew what that meant. Aku says, I never understood why folks living in tornado areas don't build more underground. Well, in Indiana, everybody has a basement or a storm cellar. But, you saw Twister. That doesn't always... If the tornado takes the building off down to the foundation, you're getting sucked up or debris. That's the other thing. These tornadoes fill up with debris so bad that after they're gone, pieces of hay have been embedded into telephone poles. And there's all sorts of stories like that, and they're true. Yeah, we all had basements, Haku. We all had basements. Shuli has fans? Darn right he does. You're looking at one, apparently. Aku says 50K is the largest. I remember Man Cow claiming 100K. 150K what? I don't know. What? Oh, Man Cow's full of it. 50,000 is Clear Channel. And there were stations before regulation. There was one in Cincinnati that had 250,000. And there are still ones in Mexico, because they're not regulated the way we are, that have over 50, but here in this country, it's 50. Man Cow. What a talk about your thirsty grifters. Oh, politics is possible. Oh, I'll be politics guy. I was a shock jock. Now I'm a politics guy. Get over yourself. SG said, beat me to it. Evening Wolf, most cheerful chat room on the internet. Verified by independent sources. By the way, we have super chats. We have stuff in the Tom Gully Show store, but please turn on those gifted memberships. That's where you get a gifted membership. And then this weekend, when we hopefully show My Favorite Brunette, you'll be able to get into that members only show and party with us. And the other thing is, like, share, subscribe, and all that. We got to get more subscribers, and we got to get them from outside the Dabbleverse. So when somebody gets arrested, or the whole show doesn't get frozen out. Linda says, don't know what it is about tornadoes, but I'm fascinated by them. Well, tornadoes, at their most violent, are much more destructive and powerful than hurricanes at their most violent. Angry Snowball says, can we get a Leghorn backpedal on that Southern construction? I didn't mean what I was saying, boy. I was just joking, having a little fun, pulling your leg, boy. Pulling your leg. You listening to me, boy? Listen to me when I'm talking to you, boy. I was having a little fun. Was funnin', boy. The Wolf says they aren't hillbillies. They're just good old boys. Yes, guys who never got a break. Aku says, Wolf, basements are a good start, but I mean building toward the idea that Mother Nature doesn't care. Aku, you could build the buildings so strong, it's not even funny. The destructive force of a 305-mile wind sustained that has debris in it. Put your 96 Chevy out there. I know it's well built. See how that fares. Reverend Wild Bill says, I'm a hillbilly and proud of it. They didn't call him Hill. They called him Hillbilly. Wolf said, you mean foghorn, leghorn, horn? Foghorn Leghorn. Yeah, that's who I was just doing there. My dad was a ridge runner, says Reverend Wild Bill. Oh boy, here we go. We got to hear this story now. He ran moonshine for the yeah. What Southerner didn't have a relative that ran moonshine? We all know. Yeah, we all saw Gator McCluskey. SG says no hills equals no hillbillies. Those are Okies, I guess. Wolf says, Aku, we counted on duck and cover. We did. Billy must be a popular name for guys in the hills. Well, Wild Bill? Hey, I'd be interested in knowing whether Wild Bill considers himself a hillbilly or a redneck. Because I've heard people proudly say they were either thing. I've heard people say, I'm proud to be a hillbilly. I'm proud to be a redneck. And I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, Indiana, not exactly Paris, France. Everybody I grew up with was like, I'd like to never got that car out of the ditch. Billy Bob is. Billy Bob. Yeah. John Boy. Evening, Rev. Aku says, do you have signs or the cops telling the public not to shoot at tornadoes? I know they do in Florida for hurricane. We may be a little backward up yonder, Indiana way. I never knew anyone to shoot at a tornado. Reverend Wild Bill says a lot of biblical names were used in the mountains. Yep, Zebediah, Jebediah, Ezekiel, all them names. I love those names. Wolf says, Aku, that must be one of the funniest things I've ever heard. It is kind of funny, but I never saw anybody do it. Appalachian Mountains, home of the hillbillies. The hillbillies. Jiminy Christmas. Okay. Yeah, caller, you got to turn down your speaker, caller.
If I turn down my speaker, I can't enjoy nothing then, except all I hear is you then. And yes, I consider myself a hillbilly.
But not a redneck.
No, there's a big difference between rednecks, especially, well, actually, it depends on where you're talking. Now, if you're talking about down here where I'm at right now, you know where I'm living at right now.
Yeah.
The rednecks down here,
yeah,
I don't want to be even associated with them.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Now, the rednecks up from where I'm from is a completely different story. Those are your honest-to-God rednecks, your farmers and stuff that works during the day out in the sun and gets their necks red.
Right.
That's where the word redneck actually came from. But down here where I live at right now, the term redneck is in the genes. And it's a very shallow pool, let me tell you.
You didn't...
I mean, even a draining kiddie pool is deeper than the gene pool down here.
You didn't...
But go ahead.
You didn't... Well, thank you. You didn't wait for me to say the phone lines are open.
I'm that damn good. And I will take over the show.
Well...
Uh-huh. Ban me. Do it. Go ahead.
I'm not going to ban you. I can just hang up. I mean, I'm not going to do that either.
Hey,
but
it wouldn't be the first time I've ever been hung up on either. You know that.
I didn't never.
Hell, I think even my mama's hung up on me. I'm not quite
I never
sure.
have. I never hung up
No,
on
you haven't. No, you haven't.
No, never.
I know you've been tempted, but I know you haven't.
I haven't even really been tempted.
No, I try not to give you no reason to do that.
I wouldn't, even if you gave me a reason. What's the point?
Yeah, you know, I just wait until after you're off the show, and then I'd hit you up, just regular video chat, just me and you, and then that is dangerous.
Well, Randy was thinking about calling, but
oh yes, Randy. Is Randy still on?
I don't know, but I know that.
Oh, he's saying good night.
You know too many. We've had too many talks. You know too many secrets about me. We'll get you next time, Randy. I'm sorry.
Randy, if you're still on, I'll hang up.
No. That just creates chaos. Trust me.
Oh no!
That just creates chaos.
I'm sorry. Yes, he's still on.
We'll get him.
Tom. Look, I will talk to you later. I'm gonna let Randy call.
I'm not done talking to you yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Randy.
But just a second, Randy. I don't know how much time you have. He's only going to watch Jeopardy or something, or maybe he's working. I don't know. Here's the here
The heck with
we've
that,
wasted
then.
so much time talking about it that we would have already been done.
Yeah.
You and I have had too many private conversations. You know far too many secrets for me to be hanging up on you.
And I would never tell none of them, even if you hung up on me, because it's nobody else's business except for mine and yours. Because I look at it this way: what you've told me, if you want others to know, you will tell them. It is not my responsibility to do it. And in turn, I would hope that the favor would be returned.
Well, I forget all the things you tell me, so that you have that going for you.
I know how that is. Because you're sitting here talking about all the secrets you know about me. I'm going,
I don't know any secrets.
which ones? I don't know of any secrets.
All right.
I've got CRS disease. Can't remember stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's just hang up and we'll talk to Randy.
All right. I'll talk to you later, brother. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. That was Wild Bill. We learned the difference between a redneck and a hillbilly. We should rank our twisters on how much damage they do, sort of like sumo wrestlers. Randy, you can call in now if you want to. We don't have a tremendous amount of time because we're getting close to the top of the hour. But man, if you want to call in, we'll talk to you. El Reno, I believe, is the largest, 2.5 miles wide at one point. Wow, I did not know that. Aku says, for the fun of it, look up energy in a tornado. I know a Cat 5 hurricane has 56 quintillion joules. Joules. I did not know that. How much is that in horsepower? I don't even know what the liters are on it. I think it's an 8-cylinder, though. Reverend Wild Bill says, I've seen a tornado drive a piece of wheat straw into a pine tree here in Georgia. Yeah, it happens all the time. Not a math guy. Sorry. Hey, I think we got Randy Ramos on the line. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Hi, and welcome to Tom Gully's show. You're on the air.
It's Randy.
Hey, Randy, what's going on? What are you working? Are you cooking? What's shaking?
Well, actually, I am listening to you and watching a little bit of TV, Jeopardy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They're cutting the grass right now. Let me close the window.
I don't hear anything. We don't hear anything.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right, fair enough. No, I just want to give you a little bit of update. Like I said, I'm working at Ioza's Italian restaurant downtown in Indy. And remember Summer Rose, my daughter?
Yes, the basketball phenom.
Yeah, she's 19 now.
Oh, my God. Oh,
Right.
my God.
Well, what I always say is I have 4 kids, and they're all off the payroll now.
Yeah. Well, Kelly's youngest is just graduated high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Laura's have long since graduated. They're in college now.
Doesn't time pass by?
It does. And doesn't Italian food taste good when you go to Ione's in Indianapolis? Where's that at?
Yeah. It's south of where I was working at before. It's about 3/4 of a mile down from the circle.
So it's south on Meridian?
It's a family. Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's
so
a
is
family-owned place.
near the Greek Isle?
Actually, yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Love me some
Yeah.
Greek Isle.
Yeah, it's. I went in there. I've worked with the executive chef before, but we're opening up 2 different places. One, another Italian restaurant, and the other one is going to be a I don't know, coffee shop. What do you call them, barista? I remember I went to one of these places, Starbucks, one time, and said I'd like a black coffee with a little bit of sugar. They're like, okay, what else? It's like, no, that's all I want.
Yeah, well,
know, I'm not into all that kind of stuff.
I call those places somewhere I'm not going.
Right, exactly.
That's what I call it. But,
And like I said, the last place I went, it's about 15 years ago. You know, it's just, I'm just not into all that.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I got to tie this up at the top
Sure.
of the hour here, but call us. I'm sorry, your request got buried in the chat, so I'm working my way through the chat.
No problem.
And but call
If
again.
you have 2 seconds, I just want to say one thing.
Okay, sure.
I enjoy your show.
Thank you.
And 2, because I'm redoing the restaurant and everything, I won't be able to be online and watch you as much as I want to. So just let it be known that just because I'm not online and watching you doesn't mean I'm not trying to, okay?
Okay, I appreciate that, man, and I appreciate your support as well. You're a good guy. So go watch the Final Jeopardy.
All right, you take care.
All right, man. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye. That was the great Randy Ramos, the chef himself. Is there some vid here on YouTube you can see pickups being lifted high in the air by a big twister? I don't know. I should have checked for that. What do we got here? Man cow is full of it. His true statement has never been said. Turd, are you okay, turd? Anyway, Reverend Wild Bill says, Wolf, a tornado can push a piece of straw through a tree into cement, but a human, no luck, just a grease spot. Lyndon says, we had a derecho some years back come. That's the reason I couldn't. Anyway, through here, and that was enough for me. I can imagine. Liquor. No, it's shine. Thunder Road. Screen door slams. Mary's dress waves. From like a vision, she dances across the porch as the radio plays. Roy Orbison singing for the lonely. Hey, that's me and I want you only. Don't turn me home again. I just can't face myself alone again. Don't run back inside, Mary. You know just what I'm here for. Scared and you're lonely and maybe we ain't that young anymore. Show a little faith. There's magic in the night. She ain't a beauty, but hey, I ain't a beauty. Never mind. I come from Stump Jumpers. That sounds something very Cajun. Julian Caesar says, I don't know what 54 kajillion joules is, but I do know I average around 1,500 kilojoules during a decent bike workout, so that number is really astonishing. Nature is super humbling. It is. Julian Caesar says the Soviet military used to use their bombers to see rain clouds so they could have dry days on special occasions. That's sort of like shooting at the weather. A little bit. We used to do the same thing. West Virginia. Mountain Mama, take me home, country road. Randy says, everybody say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie, and thank you for calling, Randy. Wolf says, no, there is no difference. Redneck refers to it having that T-shirt tan. I got a T-shirt tan. Good night, Gracie. Hurricanes pull energy from the water below. Think of the amount of energy to boil a kettle dry. The warmer the water, the more energy it pulls. Yes, that's the reason rising ocean temperatures are a problem. Aku says even a few degrees is a massive amount of energy not needed to transition water from liquid to gas. International Men of Mystery. Yes, that's what we all are here in this room. Call in, Randy. People. Akamugan says, what's the difference between the family trees between a redneck and a hillbilly? Not much. Tom, you could do a show on El Reno alone, says Lyndon. I probably could. SG Fanboy says, happy birthday, Summer. Happy birthday, Summer. The Wolf says, come on, Randy. Kids are always on the payroll. That's kind of true. I've never been nor had a Starbucks. You're not missing anything. SG Fanboy says, I'm thinking about taking a trip to Sweetwater in Fort Wayne. Randy's place is on the way. I may have to stop in. SG Fanboy, number one, Sweetwater in Fort Wayne is an incredible place. Number two, you should stop and visit Randy's place on the way. And if you're stopping in Indy, let me know. I can tell you all the sites to hit. Number three, I have a close relative that works at Sweetwater. Yes. So if there's anything I can do by contacting him to make your trip better, easier, you let me know, and I'll contact him and say, I got a buddy coming up there. What can you do for him? And then I'll find out what he can do for you, and then he'll do it. If there's anything he can do. By God, there better be something he can do. Say goodnight, Gracie. Wild Bill, it's not the best stuff, but it's consistent, always tastes the same. With that shine, Doctorn said this was fun. Oh, good. Wolf says, I used to clean the windows for several, so I had free Starbucks whenever I wanted it. Starbucks so good, you just couldn't drink it. Aku says, Red Bull might give you wings. Shine throws on the 4x4 in you. Quintillion has 18 zeros. So did the fraternity next to ours. Wild Bill says, rednecks here where I am can sum up in 3 words. Can't, fake, stupid. SG Fanboy says, do you really? That's awesome. Yes, I'm contacting him. When are you going to be through there? Aku Mugen says, the difference is the amount of kids per generation and how often the same names are used, not junior or senior or Bo or Trey. All these guys named Trey down in Atlanta. I didn't know what that was all about until somebody said, that just means they're the third. His real name is Beauregard Jenkins the Third or whatever. Educated and entertained and blown in circles, all in one show. Thanks. Hey, anytime, Angry Snowballs. Thank you for being here. Kim Warfield, the Wolf, says it's so good you couldn't even drink one drop. Red, white, and blue, Wiedemann's, all of it warm, so good you just couldn't drink it. You can fix stupid. It's a 10-cent solution, I bet. But a good 2x4 can certainly numb it. That's right. You forgot bub. I got to get out of here. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here. Glad you were. We got to expand the audience. We got to get more subscribers. I don't know how to do that. One of the ways I can do that is start appearing on other people's shows. That's rough duty. Or advertising. Billy Joe Bob. Aku says, mass tornado event should be called an election year. Ray Bob, Jim Bob. Start showing your no. Trevor had a chick, and he didn't get any extra people. Well, I guess you'd have to consider that. Doc Torn, earning massive brownie points, says, happy early 42nd birthday, Tom. Thank you. I don't know what we're going to do for the Thursday show. They got to do something special, but I don't know. Peggy Sue. I love you, Peggy Sue, and you know why I feel me. Hey. Okay. Blowhards, property damage, and families are divided. Sounds about the same. Yeah, pretty much. Need a good deal on a lefty jazz master. I'll see what I can do. Let me know when you're coming through there. All right, so with all that being said, all of it. Until next time, we'll see you next time.